Okay, it's November 10th, 2024, and this is Political Prodder at Political Prodder, the underground YouTube channel for politics and discussion and much, much more, hopefully. I'm working on my new graphics and putting out videos more to document things and to improve my process than anything else. This is why Harris lost part two. I already have Harris lost part one. It went up on Friday. The camps are blaming each other for the losses. Here's the reason in my point. Joe Biden was a terrible president. He, for the sake of tradition, carried out the Afghanistan policy that Trump had agreed to with the Taliban, which admittedly Trump would have run into trouble himself if he'd been reelected. But either way, it was a bad policy. He decided to follow it, and it was a disaster. And his approval numbers never went up after that. Further, his policy on the pandemic with the vaccines was pushy, and 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 superpowered the anti-vax movement, the personal freedom movement. The biggest mistake that in the election factor was the stimulus bill in the spring of 2021 that put trillions of dollars into the economy that wasn't necessary. The economy was growing by then. The unemployment was down below 5%, I believe. U.S. Labor Department is my source on that. There was no need for that stimulus. Prices went out of control when there was a lot of money chasing not enough goods, not enough services. And what happened? 9% inflation. Inflation was a big factor. And even while he was spewing garbage out of his mouth and doing insulting, unpresidential things, Donald Trump was on topic enough to make people realize that inflation was the Biden administration's fault. And they very effectively, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump used the Biden-Harris administration. I would have thought they would have done better if they had just stuck to that and not talked about Hannibal Lecter and Arnold Palmer and all this other funny stuff. But I was wrong. Americans forgave him for that and voted for him into office anyway. Another factor in the Biden bashing that's happening here is in this Fox article here you see on the screen. Was she a weak candidate? I don't think she was a weak candidate. I don't buy the argument. But the two people in the the Biden administration who made the political decisions decided to put an 80-year-old up for re-election who was clearly slowing down, who was clearly not be able to speak on his to talk on his feet and be nimble candidate. They put him up for re-election anyway, and literally the Democratic Party was left with no choice other than Kamala Harris when the debate was lost and Joe Biden melted down. This is Joe Biden's fault, and I think that's a good political argument. I think that Harris uh, she had a fundraising juggernaut. She raised $1 billion. She was a prosecutor. I don't think she pushed that narrative enough, but I mean, she only had 100 days to push the narrative, and I don't think the fact that it was only 100 days of campaigning is something that lets her off. I'll criticize uh, her issues in the future, but she brought a lot of strength to the economy, to the campaign. However, she did took Tim Walz as her vice president instead of Josh Shapiro, and had the race been closer and Pennsylvania been lost and she'd lost by 10 electoral votes, that would have been on her. Biden factors also involved complete mismanagement of the war with Israel. He stopped arms shipments to the Israeli government, and he did not forcefully shout down the people that want the arms blockade to Israel. He stood in Israel's way as they tried to advance and stop and take the Rafah corridor and the Philadelphia border area in order to stop weapons into Israel. He dickered around he micromanaged the war from the White House, and that was further proof of his foreign policy incompetence. I'm sorry I voted for him in 2020. Not really sorry, because he was running against Donald Trump, and I felt Donald Trump was much worse. What another future article we want to talk about is we're going to see what's Israel going to do. The Israeli government is being very arrogant. They're very happy he won, and I think they've got carte blanche to do what they want. another article there as far as whether they can rely on Donald Trump. I wouldn't rely on them if I were them. I'm an Israeli citizen, and I'm allowed to say that. So, in summary, Biden's administration was a disaster. His approval rating went in the toilet, and although Harris was able to pull away from that, she didn't pull away from him fast enough. She didn't criticize him sharply enough, and she, in the end, was tagged by the Trump campaign for the legitimate problems in the Biden administration. I mean, I was shocked when he didn't when he argued against killing Bin Laden. But I will also point out his Iran policy was idiotic. Iran was practically broke. I know we may sound like Trump right now, but it's true. This argument is true. Iran was practically broke. They had no money. The policy was simple: stop their oil exports, squeeze the regime until they stop their weapons program, and until they stop their proxy war against Israel. That was a good policy. I've said it several times during the campaign season. I will say it again. I hope it gets re-implemented ASAP, as soon as possible, because that was a good policy, and I'm in favor of it. Thank you for this video. Please, I will allow comments to be open on some videos when I'm asking for quality assurance. Not, I'm trying to get the quality up. I'm trying to use HD HD video and better graphics, and the site's looking good. And my wife helped me with working on my voice. She's kind of a voice coach, and also I've got, the echo in the earlier videos is gone because I followed my wife's advice on the setup of the room where I record in. I've got a partition up to keep the wood floor from making too bad an echo. Things are looking good. If you like this content, please press like. Please share it with your friends. Please press notify. We've got 4 years to get ready for the next election, and I'm going to do it one day at a time. Thanks a lot. Click those buttons.